think this would be an interesting conversation. I think we're on very opposite sides because that was an hour of garbage.
Did you watch both episodes?
Yep. The second one was better, to be honest, but tell me why you liked it, because I hated that. That sucked.
Hated is a strong word.
I was pulling a very disappointed, disgusted face for the entire first episode.
Like John Lithgow at the Oscars?
Yes. I was like wondering what's happening.
Yeah.
Because I was confused because people were giving it glowing reviews. They're like, Daredevil is back. He's born again.
Well, as someone who was just watching like season 1 a night or two ago, I felt like I was watching that show again.
That's insane. That is insane. This looks like shit.
No, it doesn't. I thought it looks good. The sound was great. The technical sound stuff was great. Like to actually hear what he hears and to hear how he...
They do that in the other seasons as well.
They do it really well here.
I did want them to do it more in the Netflix run, but then seeing it here, I'm like, it's too much. Like, they're going... Like, I don't need a lens flare appearing around his ear and them thinking that they're cinema because they lowered the bars.
That was pretty cool. It's like, it's good.
Yeah, he's narrowing in, but people are praising it way too much. It was like, I'm like, oh, that's sure.
Well, okay.
But then they get into this fight that is the most garbage. Oh, I vomited, honestly. You thought the CGI puppets slapping each other looked good?
Okay. I don't think we as an audience need to know this because you're watching a show, but we are aware that they filmed almost a whole other version of this show with different showrunners.
Yeah, it sounds like this show was 3 different shows at one point, but the latest guy made it sound like he scrapped everything. But judging by the pacing of this show, I think they did reshoots, honestly. This is a mishmash. It's paced badly.
I'm unsure about that because the showrunner, he was initially saying that the original series relied too much on long dialogue sequences, far too reliant on people in rooms talking about their philosophies.
Except he just did that again then. Or is that the old cut?
You had one fucking scene in a diner, which was pretty good. Calm down.
No, whenever Charlie Cox and D'Onofrio are on screen together, fantastic.
Well, it's good this whole show's based around them then, isn't it?
Yes, but they're the only thing carrying it.
Well, they're the only thing that's carried this ever.
No, it had heart. I loved Karen Page. I was so keen. I'm just disappointed.
It's looking like, here we go, it's Karen, it's Foggy with an actual decent head of hair and beard. Foggy actually looks good now.
They have the gang back together because all the advertising was like, we had to bring the gang back together.
Because wasn't that the original problem? That they weren't in it at all?
Yeah. Whereas in this, we get 2 whole scenes with them. Yippee!
I was quite worried at first that this was going to be a fucking blip moment where he's touching them, he's leaning on them, and then because they kept cutting to like the New York City and all the sounds.
Honestly, that might have been more interesting.
Matt, who hears everything now, suddenly hears half of.
Yeah.
No, it would have been shocking.
Maybe 5 years ago, like around Infinity War, you would have been like, oh shit. Whereas now, they put the gang back together. They make a big deal about it in all the marketing. Shock, surprise. They kill off Foggy. And this is my first problem with it. I don't mind killing the best friend character. I don't love when they kill someone that important at the start because then it puts a real damper and everyone's so depressed at the beginning of the story. And it's also strange because we don't really know what this is. It's not a reboot. It fits in canon. They go through everything to make sure it fits. They reference Echo. They reference Spider-Man. They do all these little Easter eggs.
It starts with him fighting Bullseye.
It's its own thing on Disney Plus. It's called Born Again, but you have to have watched season 3. I don't think they do a good characterization of anyone.
What do you mean? Surely those people who've watched She-Hulk are fully in the know.
I think She-Hulk probably introduced Matt Murdock better than this did.
I love Bullseye because he's so dumb. He feels like a Hideo Kojima Metal Gear Solid character.
You like...
Oh, the Colin Farrell version is a treat. You get to see Bullseye. I loved it. I love the over-the-topness of it, like the little bit where he has the pool ball and he throws it at the woman, but instead of just beaming it at her, he throws it over there and it comes back 5 seconds later. It's the type of dumb shit that I love about the character, that he's just showing off.
I'm surprised you could see any of that, though, because it was so dark, so shaky, and so CGI.
I assume that all that bar is not really there.
Which is why it looks even grosser, because then you've got... Not only is it a CGI cutscene, and then they turn the lights off, and the lighting on him looks completely different to those walking past him. If you're going to CGI the scene, don't put real people, crawling through. It was disgusting.
So that obviously was an additional thing, which obviously...
I guess so, because otherwise
if Foggy wasn't in the original series, was Foggy already dead?
Or it was because it was a reboot. He hadn't met him yet.
I was happy with it, and I liked it because they were like, "Here's the Daredevil that you've wanted. Here's your lung fight scene. Here's some cool like sound stuff. Here's the bullseye stuff that you love from season 3, but now it's even more ridiculous and fun." And then, as a fan of it, as much as we want to dunk on old She-Hulk, I did like that She-Hulk at least showed him being acrobatic. He's meant to be. He's meant to be. I know. Yeah. I know you don't want him to be Spider-Man.
Well, the main reason they're doing that, though, is because he's CGI for most of it now.
I'll give you this. The whole opening, at first, I was like, I don't know, because it did look a little bit like when it cut to him not being CG and he's on the roof and it's like he's just got there. I was like, okay.
His little, like, drop.
Yeah.
It's funny because the official Daredevil account on Twitter posted him doing the landing, but they cut off the bit where he's CGI, so like it just shows him like landing, so it looks good, and you're like, that's a cool shot, but like a split second before that, he's like, pop.
I liked it that they went, okay, here it is, we're just going to get that out of the way, we're going to get you, it's like all the elements that you like, the fact that they get tired, it's a one take, all these things, we've done it in the first 10 minutes, right, let's move on.
I just think it was so poorly done that it just made me hate the show from the get-go, like right at the gate. I'm like,
that's wild.
I'm like, okay, the band's back together, but then we're sitting in this bar showing all these people that we've never met as if they're best friends. Bar. Yeah, okay, yes, we're in Josie's bar, but it's a bunch of random people. None of those people except the main 3 are people we know, but we're talking about them like, oh, it's his retirement party. We all love him. He's a great detective. This is also a great detective woman. And then we meet Severance chick, and she's like, wowee, you're such a good lawyer. I can't believe how good of a lawyer you are. I hope I never have to fight you in court.
Remind me never to face you in cross.
And then he dies. All that shit happens that I hated. And then the next sin is they decide, why bother dealing with this problem? We're just going to skip forward because we're lazy. I hate time skips. I'm sorry. They're doing everything I don't like. I wouldn't be shocked if we get flashbacks later. Once we flash forward, he's just been depressed.
His best good pal, the former cop, obviously figures out he's Daredevil as well.
We already had Cop from season 1.
He opted to attempt to kill Bullseye.
Well, he doesn't actually kill someone, but I guess...
The fact that you tried to.
Yeah, which I didn't expect Bullseye to open his eye. I forgot that at the end of season 3, he goes through experimental therapy to unbreak his back and become whole again.
I wonder if that was added because they knew they weren't going to get him in the suit doing the Daredevil stuff for a bit.
I'd wager so.
We get it. We released that tension of seeing him in the suit again and doing his stuff. And then here we are.
That's what they wanted it to do. He tries to kill Bullseye, but then we just get a repeat of the season 3 arc, which is, oh, I don't want to be Daredevil anymore. Although the interesting thing season 3 did with it, instead of Daredevil no more, he wants to be Daredevil only. It's more of a Matt Murdock no more, because he thinks God betrayed him, because God took from him. Whereas in this, because it's, I guess, a conscious choice to try to kill someone, even though he's basically done that before. The plot for the rest of the episode is Fisk wants to become mayor.
Because season 3 made Trump illusions with the term fake news. And
yes.
That's fake news.
Trying to be mayor, and obviously he's a criminal. Who would vote a criminal?
Well,
all that stuff.
You wouldn't know because you didn't watch Echo, but basically...
What happens at the end of Echo? She gets shot in the eye by her
in Hawkeye.
In Hawkeye. Then what happens in Echo?
She uses her magic powers to heal his eye and goes into his mind so that he can relive his childhood trauma and be healed. And that's canon.
And that's why he was disappeared for months.
When he says to Vanessa, oh, my recovery took so long, I'm sorry. And then he also says he tried to be a mentor and that didn't work out. And then he's like, kids of today.
Well, that was just one because you and I were having a previous discussion where I was fairly confident and adamant that there would be no reference to anything.
I was so hoping because there's so much garbage to get around.
I wonder if these new I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to talk about Echo. Because that's never going to come back, is it, Echo?
Well, that's the reason he's a changed man. He's not completely changed, like he's battling with his nature is what they're going with.
But in this, he does seem, obviously he did a little thing at the end with the sun.
Yes.
He just seemed to, it's more that he's trying to, so far, if you're trying to look at him as an honest character, that he's using these bad habits to try and...
Yes. So he's not being his full evil self. Like, maybe he was never going to do anything to the kid.
And how's that, different from dressing up in a red suit and punching people?
That's the dichotomy. That's what That's what they're trying to base the whole show around. They're skipping through plot points really quickly as well. So once we skip forward a year, Murdoch has moved on from Karen Page. We meet Karen for a second, and she basically says, I can't be in the show anymore. Sorry, I wasn't in the original script. And then she fucks off to somewhere.
To quote Kevin Smith, one of the things he likes about Matt Murdock is he's a pussy hound.
A pussy hound of sorts in the comics, which is another really interesting aspect of his character that set him apart from most superheroes.
And he doesn't really have a lockdown girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yes, there's Elektra. Yes, there's Karen Page. But unlike Superman or Spider-Man, there is no, like, locked in, this is the person for him.
Yeah.
He gets through him a bit. And so I wasn't too offended that, like, oh no, Karen, please don't leave. On to the next one, because that is sort of in the character that this guy, he does that.
Everyone's moved on.
Because he merged his practice with
the random really good attorney that we met for 10 seconds.
But it's funny, because then it's not like she's just moved into his storefront, as she put it. It's now like almost a, like, proper, like they've got staff. Well, we move forward. He's now more of a practicing lawyer. The first episode it's more about settling in and him trying to do his life of just being a lawyer. He meets Heather, starts hitting it off with her a little bit, and then obviously Kingpin has returned, and then Vanessa, who has been running the empire in the months he's been away, has done a stand-up brilliant job of running a drug empire, and is sleeping with that guy, Adam.
Oh, I mean, maybe.
With a guy.
Yeah.
Like, they
don't go into it, but there's marital problems.
Because
Fisk is a normal guy. But because Fisk is a changed man now, he doesn't want to do crime. He wants to be mayor so that he can make real change. And the rest of the episode is his campaign. And the pacing feels so insane.
I did think it was weird that it was that quick. That they got him to be mayor. Like, it wasn't 2 or 3 episodes. It wasn't the run-up. I assumed he was already going to be mayor by, like, the trailer that we saw. I thought, oh, he must have just become mayor.
I thought that conversation in the diner was, like, first minute in, they're just like, boom, new status quo. This is what's crazy. Whereas, Fisk doesn't even do anything, really. Like, they just tell him expositionally, they're like, hey, you're doing really well in the polls. Isn't that crazy? And then he's like, that is good. And then he becomes mayor at the end of the episode through no real work. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's meant to be that he's trying to push for the anti-vigilante thing. Yes. And people are scared. And
it's a definite Trump metaphor where they're like, what, this ex-villain? And we get introduced to 3 characters along with him. We get Daniel the annoying Gen Zer.
James Gandolfini's son.
Sure.
And then not Wesley, but English. I miss Wesley.
We get Campaign Lady. And basically, none of them get any development except not Wesley is a bit of a spooky guy. The other one, I guess, is a good lady because she's not around for any of the evil stuff. And the annoying kid is annoying. Shock. And then they don't even bother with Matt's new girlfriend because Matt gets a girlfriend properly because he gets set up by his lawyer girl partner that we also don't even know.
New Foggy.
But we don't get to know her. I know nothing about her except that first 5 minutes in the bar. I will admit,
her being there, it makes it feel like you've missed something. Like,
And not even just like, oh, I missed Echo and Hawkeye.
But it could make you think that. It could make you go, wait, well, was there some like Mandalorian-esque moment where there was 2 like Daredevil episodes buried away in Echo I didn't know about or something?
Because she's acting like she belongs here and they've been friends for a year because of the time skip. And I'm sure they'll develop her more. But we've had an hour and a half, more than that, and we haven't had anything with her. I know nothing apart from she's a lawyer and she likes being a lawyer. She sets him up with a therapist. And for a second, I'm like, oh, she wanted him to go to therapy. But no, she wanted him to get a girlfriend. And then they're both like a little bit of banter. It's oh, I don't date lawyers.
And then they decided to, instead of just filming the banter, they just put music over it. It gave me some vibes of the 2003 Daredevil underrated director's cut because that relies a lot on like soundtrack, particularly like Evanescence.
Oh yeah.
And this had a few like weird needle drop moments, like, I mean, he's a man struggling with God, so let's have a song.
Which is very CW to me. The Netflix doesn't do that at all. There's no songs with words that they like play to make you feel emotions.
I wasn't crazy about the credit drop of episode 2, to be honest.
That too. That's the thing. It's like, I thought you liked this. You said these were good.
I did like it.
You're agreeing too much with me hating it.
I'm not saying it's 10 out of 10. I'm not saying it's 2 out of 10. I'm just saying it was pretty good. Like, considering that I've had such low expectations of any Marvel Disney thing in such a long time, that to watch something and go, I definitely would keep watching this. I just wanted to wear the fucking suit. We didn't even talk about the, he drops the helmet, and then we transition to the new intro.
Oh, yeah. The new intro that is worse than the old intro, but not bad.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway.
Therapy girlfriend, they also don't bother telling us anything about her, apart from she's a bit snarky. She has something to play with Matt, sure.
That's a fair point.
But then we don't see her again for the rest of the episode. But then in the next episode, they do a previously on that shows her. And you learn just as much about her in that previously on as you did in the entire episode. And I'm like, who the fuck are these characters? Well, especially when they drop in Foggy and Karen and they're like, hey, here's two people you love. And I'm like, at least we've got the band.
So your problem is they want it both ways and they haven't serviced either. They want the people who have watched the Netflix version. They've went ahead and watched that one She-Hulk episode and they watched that 5 minutes of Echo. And they went, okay, I'm fully caught up with my man. And then they also want the crowd who are like, oh, what's this Daredevil stuff?
Yeah, well, or they're like, oh, everyone's talking about Daredevil. But yeah, I know none of the new characters. And sure, we have 7 more episodes with them. But to not bother setting them up in the first episode, when season 1 Netflix, you had your band together in the first episode and you understood all 3 of them. Whereas here, I just don't get it. Even Matt's had no development. If you don't know Matt, you still don't know
It relies a lot on previous...
Entirely, I reckon.
Yeah, that's absolutely
It just annoys me.
No, that's absolutely fine point, because you are right.
I'm going to come across so salty. I'm so sorry if you liked it.
No, and I'm going to come... Yeah, I might come across bitchy towards you.
People need to take off their Matt Murdock red-tinted, rose-coloured glasses and not look at this show through the nostalgia / wanting it to be good, because it's not good. They just want this to be good. They're saying this is goated because they want it to be, not because it actually is. There's a reason they did a 2-episode intro, because they wanted to make sure people were grabbed, because nothing grabs you about the first episode. It's literally just like, oh, Fisk is mayor now, and it's like, we knew that was going to happen the whole time.
Really, it's good though, because...
What is?
When Matt, I like the little things where like Matt can hear and we hear the sound good. And did you hear like in the sound, mate? I had a really good sound bar. I'm not sure it's like for you. When you're hearing, you can hear people going like, subscribe to Bergen Beard, or you can like hear our videos playing, like someone's like, whoa, these guys have got the greatest opinions, I need to hit the bell icon for this.
To give us kind of a like
Center the City.
Yeah, exactly.
Reminded me of, he looks like a spider.
Dresses like a spider, he looks like a bug. But we should all just give him one big hug.
Yes.
We all sure that whole thing, some crazy wackadoo or
I got the same sense of, like, whoever's making this loves New York. It's just a way to give us, like, the fact that it's so two-sided. Yeah, not everyone loves Fisk, but I guess slightly more people love Fisk.
We don't see what BB looks like until she's actually in the scene.
Correct. But we also don't know what BB is shooting these fucking vox pops on. It is the shallowest film camera I've ever seen in my goddamn life.
I knew you'd fucking
As a camera
spin out
person,
over this.
that pisses me off. She's shooting like a Zack Snyder 0.95 lens so that there's no background in these people. And then she's cutting to like TikTok filters of 16
it's the same
mil.
5 people as well.
She keeps meeting them out there.
Do you know the guy who does the what's your take on the subway?
I've seen other people, but yeah, they're doing Billy on the Street.
Yeah. Oh, a Billy on the Street in the Daredevil universe would be amazing.
What do you think of Daredevil?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. But yeah, they're doing
For
that.
$1.
But it's boring. Like, I don't know. It's very addictive seeing those things on TikTok where someone like gives some stranger the mic and says like, hey, what are you doing in Japan
But then
currently?
she's doing it filmically. She's being artistic about it.
It's like they wanted to do something actually topical, but then they made it wanky, because I don't know why they gave the camera for the whole episode 1 and half of episode 2. Why did they give it to someone with no tripod and Parkinson's disease?
For the BB stuff or the whole show?
For the whole fucking episode.
Oh, I didn't
It's doing
notice that
this.
stuff.
Like, people are just trying to walk. And
Unlike you when you were watching
this chick's
Severance.
running behind them trying to keep up with the camera. She could not keep it still. Action scenes all over the place. One of the worst things is in episode 2 when there's a big fight near the end. They talked so much in the advertising of this show about how bloody and gritty this new show is.
I didn't like that fight.
He smacks a dude's head into the fridge several times. The camera doesn't keep up, so you don't even see it. It's on purpose so that they don't have to like actually hit his head.
And the fight in the subway station was a bit iffy
what
as
the
well.
fuck was that fight?
So we'll kind of transition into episode 2. I think the performances, all that is good. Obviously, you can't go on with Charlie Cox, you can't go on with Vincent D'Onofrio. So strip it all down and make it about them, which is fine. I was happy because Daredevil is uniquely suited to the 22 episodes problem of the week type show for me.
Oh, as in courtroom drama.
courtroom drama, but then he dresses up like the devil and beats up and gets things working. Like, in a different era, would work so well.
Yeah.
So in this one, it's like the guy at the train station. I'm like, okay, it's a new problem of the week. Awesome. But then it's not a new problem of the week.
No.
And also, it turns out that guy is White Tiger. White Tiger?
Yes. So
Not Black Panther.
Correct, White Tiger. Who is it? It's a Spider-Man friend. Because we start in the subway following random guy we've never heard of, except for the fact that if you can put 2 and 2 together later on, they mention White Tiger in episode 1 as there's 2 vigilantes in the city. It's Daredevil and White Tiger. Yeah, checkbox.
And Spider-Man, technically.
He gets a reference at the start of this one, yeah.
Whoever that Spider-Man guy is, I don't know.
Man that dresses like a spider. But we're in the subway because random man comes across 2 people punching up another guy.
They were corrupt cops beating on someone.
Yes. Our main man, random guy, walks in and he's like, I don't want to see people beating up another guy. I'm going to intervene. And he tries to fight them. But in the weirdest, like, I thought he was going to bite his ear off, but then he just looks like he's hugging him.
That was really weird.
Yeah, you're a fight guy. That's nothing, right?
I thought he was trying to be like this weird, realistic.
He just wanted to nuzzle his neck a little bit.
Biting is weird. It's primal and common, and also somewhat realistic. Because
that's what I thought he was going for. He's like, I'm outnumbered.
A
I can't
headbutt
win.
and a bite
Fuck
is
this guy.
somewhat.
But no, then they cuddle. They roll across the room.
It is odd.
And then the other guy doesn't come to help his friend. Keeps holding on to the guy that's doing nothing. And then as he goes over, he trips and gets hit by a train because they're on the tracks.
That's the C train. Sorry.
That's not heaven. That's the C train.
Trains don't make any noise until they're right there, apparently. But this random guy gets covered in blood, and then he's just hovering there, and the weirdest thing ever. But then, flash forward to later on, he's getting beaten up by the cops, being called a cop killer. And then Matt Murdock finds him. We get another, what if we focus really heavily on his ear? When I was watching Netflix Daredevil, I was like, I wish they did more sound stuff. And like, I want him to like tap something.
But he doesn't need to.
Probably because I love that too much. But just for the visual and like certain things like in season 2, he needs to search through a shipping container and he just knows that it's full. All I need him to do is just like tap it once or like nearby.
It's always weird the way people do the radar sense. Some version, the comic version, it's like he just sees everything grid-based.
Outlined because he's in a drawer. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, that is still obviously a visual impairment, but the trade-off is it's 360 vision.
Yeah, it's cool. He's a top-down fighter.
Yeah, which is why he's good at fighting because him fighting backwards or forwards is the same for him.
Which is what I thought we were getting in this. But they're going too much in the whole, like, let's zoom in on his ear and then we'll show you slowly what he's hearing. It slows the pacing massively. And usually, in Netflix, can't stop quoting it, he would hear something and be like, oh, I know what that is. Like, he can focus in way quicker. Whereas this, it's like he's slow. Like, he has to think about it. Like, he was, like, watching room by room.
He's filtering because most of his training is that he can hear everything, but what his training was to filter in on
but
things.
that's boring and slow.
I wish, it would be expensive. I've never seen the radar sense depicted as it was in the show as a world on fire, which is just
more than just a face.
Which is
it's a filter.
But the fact that he called it a world
finding.
on fire, he's the devil, he's religious. It's just a good.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
But we only see it once with Karen.
With Claire's face.
Claire's face, sorry. And then obviously in the Ben Affleck version, they can't wait to show you.
All they do in that movie, they're like, hey, you want to see radar vision? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to see radar vision.
But in that one, they made it more sonar, which always...
They went too far in that one.
Where it's more sound-based.
Yeah, they deleted his other ones.
Because the audience has to understand where it's like, oh, okay, he sees sound waves. I get it, where it's meant to be... He actually could see the out, but I like, I'm getting so nerdy for it. I like then that one, they're like, oh, it's like he has radar sense and all the other senses almost paint in the edges a bit. So he gets to full on, in her case, fucking sees her iris.
They still haven't managed to do it in a cool way that I like, unfortunately.
Would you like to do it like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man where Tom was like it?
I would rather that, like the fly like landing on someone.
And he can hear and sense all of that.
They kind of show that in the Netflix one time when a raindrop hits Karen and it like rolls down her. They like show the raindrop, so it's like he's tracing her outline basically using it.
In the comics, he's done all sorts of mad things where, in this they do things where he knows it's Karen because of her footsteps, he knows someone because of their heart.
Her gait.
I missed that the Billy Club in the comics and in the movie, his Billy Club is his club.
Yep.
I hate that he always...
He has two separate ones.
I just want him to just have it be a double. It's just a cool...
That's part of the cool thing about it.
I really like in the film because he has a human side and a devil side.
One of the reasons it's a club is because it's easy. Whereas in the Netflix, he throws it into the trash at one point. I'm like, bruh, Like, those are probably expensive.
Yeah.
So anyway, where the fuck were we? Yes. Matt finds White Tiger in prison getting beat up, and the guards are like, oh, we're going to force you to sign this confession, you cop killer. And Matt's like, I won't let that happen. I'm a good lawyer. Like you, I thought, oh, we're getting, this is the problem. He's going to be doing this the whole episode. Instead, we spend a whole bunch of time with Fisk as he kind of just potters around and then does like one or two things.
Consider this your permission.
Yeah, it's a comment on society that there's too much red tape and that all we need is a good politician and we just need someone to get shit done.
At least Fisk can read. Maybe not much happened in episode 2.
Not much happened in the whole show. So I'll skip through the White Tiger thing because it's pretty
Why doesn't he
boring.
just always have the bracelet on? It seemed like a pretty convenient thing to just always have on.
Yeah, so White Tiger, they explain, has an amulet. It's the funniest delivery.
He wasn't in possession of his mystical amulet.
Matt Murdock finds out that White Tiger is the vigilante, and when he's talking to the judge about it, he's like, he didn't even have his costume on or his magical amulet.
And then the other guy, the Hawk, who just made me think of...
The Vulture.
Yep. Fuck yeah.
Haircut and everything.
He's like Kobe.
He swoops in at the end. I know he's dealt with magical stuff because of fucking Elektra, but it's so funny when this grounded, gritty superhero with no powers, with reasonable magic powers, because like Stick had
You
shit
can
like
go
that.
along with it. Like, yeah, his senses are so heightened. It's weird.
He didn't even have his magic amulet. You don't understand. He's not a bad guy. He just didn't have his magic amulet.
They tried to make it work with the Hawk being like...
Yeah,
magic
they tried to
amulet.
point fun at it. But like, why include the White Tiger in your gritty drama?
Because they actually have a season. It's going to launch alongside Iron Maiden or whatever the fuck.
Back in the day, I would have expected to see White Tiger in the next series.
Yeah.
That's how random and out of place it feels. And it's very She-Hulk, him defending or like working with another superhero. To exonerate the White Tiger, he needs the witness that was there that the White Tiger saved. So he's going to go find him. And we get maybe my third most hated sequence in this. Why do I need a 3-minute long scene of following a guy down an alleyway? And why does Matt almost get hit by a car?
Because he's so locked in.
Yeah, but like, you've never done this before. You've been good at following people. I know you're not Daredevil anymore, so you're not like running on rooftops, but you can tell when things are around you. Making him this locked in, and it was such a long sequence.
Yeah.
Are they trying to tell newcomers to Daredevil what his powers are? Like, oh, I hope we can follow this person.
It is weird, yeah. Because obviously I'm bringing in stuff I know from the comics I've read, which can always be changed in its influx. Because he's constantly pinging, it's almost like he can feel it. So he can almost feel the car coming towards, which is why he's good at fighting. Where, yeah, I guess it's meant to be he's just so focused. The car, and it's meant to be the reason why he gets caught behind, because the car...
But it doesn't even matter that he falls behind because he knows where he ends up. He gets to the guy's apartment still, no problems. I think that whole scene was to explain his powers to me in the second episode of his show after I've seen him use his powers multiple times. I'm not sure why that existed and why it was so slow. They didn't do anything interesting with it. There wasn't like obstacle avoidance. He wasn't doing anything. He was walking down the street following this guy from a distance. A guy with vision could have done this just as easily.
Yes.
So there's nothing cool there. I don't know why, and it just pissed me off. I'm
Unlike
sorry.
the equivalent when is it season 1 when he's tracking the limo music?
Yes.
And then he's parkouring around the buildings.
Yep. And they do that sound really cool. Like he opens the door, you hear the music playing, and then he closes the door, it gets muffled, but then he zones
And
in.
then don't they try and do that again with Defenders, and Jessica Jones is like watching him and she jumps up the building.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember.
He gets into the apartment, the guy who was being beat up by the cops, for we don't know what the reason is. He goes, look, you're the only person, I know you're scared, but they're coming to kill you. You need to get out of here. So then they come in, find the lawyer, know they're kind of fucked because the lawyer was onto them.
I did like that little tension where they open the door and like the lawyer that they know.
And it's weirdly a cool visual. Guy with red glasses with the blind stick.
Just waiting.
It's a cool visual. It almost sometimes looks cooler than the actual outfit. So then they come in. He gives them the whole lawyer spiel. He says the whole, sorry, I'd love to help you, but I've got a bit of a sight problem, which is funny. And then obviously he does the, please don't do this.
Well, they start beating him up.
Yeah, and he tries to take it.
This is the whole like, he doesn't want to be Daredevil. He doesn't want to beat up people.
He's having a crisis of faith because he's not going to church.
Yeah. Oh, he's standing outside the church but listening in, which again is nice. But it's when it's just Matt doing Matt things. That's what I'm okay with.
Yeah.
This scene was not bad. As in, like, this is probably the most interesting character thing. Like him trying to be normal is getting the shit beaten out of him. And then it is insane that these cops, even if they're dirty cops, are blatantly beating up a blind lawyer. I'm like, my guys, what the fuck?
Isn't that what they say about, remember in season 1? I don't give a shit if you're blind. I'll beat your ass.
Yes, but that's sarcastic. And in this, they're just beating the shit out of this blind guy. And then they are going to kill him. So it's like, okay, at least they're like going to follow through.
Defend himself.
And then he absolutely shit kicks them. But it's not a good fight scene again. I think it's poorly edited. It's shaky.
I wanted it to be like the Bourne Identity.
Boris, hoch. Hey, action, hoch.
Obviously, we're being a bit picky, but given that one of the foundations Daredevil is that he can do some good hand-to-hand combat stuff.
Well, every episode, you got at least one big fight.
And they pride themselves on the one take, which they got out the way this season.
That wasn't a one take. That was CGI. It doesn't count.
Still, like, it has that flavour, that feel.
He beats the absolute shit out of them, but he sent the witness away to go meet up with his best friend that's a cop that retired and is maybe a PI now. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Oh, he's working for them.
Yeah, because he keeps rocking up to scenes as
if he's
as really good
there,
friend.
Yeah.
And it's really, really distracting that I'm like, why is he... I don't know. If you get a sense of a character, you can be like, oh yeah, these guys have been friends for ages.
I think that guy's going to be someone important. I reckon he's probably going to be Muse or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's probably his Muse. She is his Muse. That ties everyone together.
The good scene of them in the diner at the end of episode 1, when they sit in the diner and they discuss.
I mean, we skipped over it because it was one of the main marketing materials.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, it's good when they talk.
Both these guys are New York boys, Hell's Kitchen boys, and they're just on opposite sides. And they agree that as long as we both stay in our lane.
But why are they so chummy? They were too chummy, right?
I think because because last time he saw him, and I think they make reference to it.
I bet you.
Yeah, and then he says, "You aren't going to come by anyone. You aren't going to come for mine, and if not, I'm going to come for her."
Yep.
So they kind of just agreed, and then now it's been years.
This is in line with Echo, like everything that happens in Echo, and Echo was last year, as in like continuity wise.
I really don't try and think. I don't think they think about it too much, because if they do, it won't work.
Someone did, because Kevin Feige made them put in all those references, which just hurt.
Yeah, it is.
I hope we don't. I hope that from now on,
that's
it's like, that'd be lovely.
They basically just agree we're going to continue staying out of each other's way.
Yeah, they just felt too chummy to me. Like, I'm okay with them having maybe a mutual respect.
Because I was assuming he hired Bullseye to kill.
Yes, but obviously didn't. And I believe him, because like that would be a big leap, I think. So either Bullseye is a mystery that's going to come up later,
was just a psychopath,
or Bullseye was for the first episode.
Because he's meant to be just a psychopath obsessed with Daredevil who wants to kill people.
But he didn't know that Daredevil was Matt.
No, but he went after. Didn't he go after them because they were? Well, I mean, you've watched season 3 more recently. Like, weren't they directly trying to stop him, or they were in his way, or
possibly it would have to be one hell of a revenge tour. Like, there are other people he would try to kill first. He would try to go after Fisk first. Fisk broke his back.
I just want to see more, like the bouncing the knife off the floor.
I'm not sure if him's coming back.
I know, I'd be disappointed.
Bullshit, Jerry.
Fisk's storyline becomes mayor, wants to try and get the police officer on side.
The police commissioner.
Yeah, but they've had a few run-ins because obviously he's the Kingpin, and he politely threatens his bastard son, threatens to release information about him, or maybe even, we don't know. He's just saying, I know about this person. I did like that. The sandwich was terrible.
That's the Fisk thing. He knows how to work people. They play him as like neurodivergent and like a special boy in the Netflix one all along, but he still understands people.
To this version, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, definitely.
We're told that a cop's been killed, the machine is running, they need to punish someone. So he's here going like, don't they tell him, you'll lose the cops if this doesn't work out for you, or something?
I'm not really sure why.
Because I feel like the connection between the case and Fisk wasn't clear. That is he actually, because they said, he's going to be watching this. I don't ever see him going, seems Mr. Murdoch has got himself in a problem.
Yeah, it feels like it should be immediately connected, because like Fisk wants to say no vigilantes because they kill cops.
Yeah.
Even though Fisk killed cops. But
I smashed his head. Oh, great story.
They never put the two pieces together. And again, we've got 7 episodes left. Maybe they're going to do that later. Maybe they'll blend it better. But it really did. So far, it feels like 2 disconnected things that are thematically linked.
I hope people aren't going to get annoyed with him doing couples therapy. Like Sopranos, the whole setup is the guys doing therapy. So like, I just feel like I can imagine meanwhile, Fisk does some, I'm trying to do Scottish.
he loves Vanessa. Like, that's his main driving force why he does so many insane things and makes poor decisions, because it's to protect her. Because we've come into it 6 years later after flash forwards and stuff, they've drifted apart, and he still wants to be with her, even though he went away and mentored a deaf girl for a while.
I don't know how she fits into, because surely she would have been around during the Netflix era stuff.
Yes, it doesn't feel like...
Is she meant to be like 19 or something?
There is flashbacks in Echo, so yeah, he was raising her since like she was 7 or something.
So she would have been around during the...
Which, it doesn't work, because it was never supposed to go together.
Yeah, then I know.
Fisk goes to therapy, as you said, because she's Matt's girlfriend, but...
They would know that, surely, right?
You would think so, but they don't ever reference it in the show.
Yeah.
So it's purely, for now, it's purely coincidence.
Isn't it weird that he's like great on one person away from Matt Murdock yet again?
Yeah, which he wouldn't want. Like, the new Fisk would want to steer clear of Matt.
Yes.
Yet he's now seeing his therapist girlfriend.
So far, apart from that little thing of him using his old habits to get what he wants for the greater good, which, as I've said before, is like Matt breaking someone's arm and slamming their head in the fridge, it seems that he does, as Matt says, seems that he has genuine intention of trying to be good.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because in season 1, wasn't that the whole point? He goes, I actually wanted this city to be good, but then you took everything.
The whole show is meant to be two men that mirror each other, and they're going against their own nature. So like Fisk is evil, trying to be good, or like power hungry, trying to do good. It's the opposite of season 3. Instead of like, I'm nothing but Daredevil, he is now, I am Matt Murdock, and I can be Daredevil no more, even though I hear a bunch of people getting beat up all the time.
I can understand some fans, and you know, you pointed out to me, I do agree, that we go from Foggy being dead to then, 30 minutes later, we've got weird banter of like, I knew you'd like her. Yeah.
It's been 1 year.
You're here going, well, why can't this be Foggy?
That as well. Like, there's no reason to have killed Foggy, apart from the fact that we need him to give up the mask. Like, him...
Let's kill Karen then.
Also... Get her!
Well, he kills her in the comic anyway.
Well, because Spider-Man's girlfriend keeps dying, they're like, give him a rest. But it's true. There's no reason why Foggy is dead, apart from we needed Matt to give up the cowl and be sad for a little bit, so that we can then, by the end of episode 2, make him revert to being Daredevil. I don't know whether he's going to keep being Daredevil. Born again. When this show has been remade again. I have heard that the show improves in quality after episode 5.
Because a lot of people have watched the whole
A lot
batch.
of people have watched the whole season.
Cool.
Which is all the Rotten Tomatoes views. This debuted at the lowest Rotten Tomato score of any Daredevil season, but it's slowly crept up to above season 2. But yeah, I just think this show sucked.
You've definitely brought up some good points.
We leave Matt with punching the floor.
He's let the devil out.
Yes.
Those Murdoch boys, they got the devil in them.
And he's back. Like, the Daredevil is back.
I swear, if he's putting on a fucking grey scarf again.
Oh, like Defenders?
No, I'm not back. I'm just putting on a shirt.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think a lot of this show is going to be out of the mask until maybe episode 5, where the new director was like, there needs more punching.
Wasn't that the problem with this original version, that it was 6 episodes and he wasn't in the suit?
That's what the director kept saying, but so far we've got 2 episodes where he was never in the suit.
So maybe you're right. Maybe we've repurposed some stuff.
I think this show would be too
weird
expensive
to reshoot a whole when you've got all this stuff in the can.
Yeah.
Because this White Tiger stuff feels like it came from a more Disney Marvel version of a show.
Magical, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, so does Vanessa's evil lair. That's like full of corrugated iron. Like, they roll up the door and he rocks into this like corrugated iron room. Like, oh, gross. It feels very Disney that someone's tried to slap something on top of.
Yeah.
And I think as the season goes, we'll get more of the new stuff, because probably the old stuff was either too hard to change, apart from that first 15 minutes, which is entirely new. I don't know what the original reason was for him not having the mask off, but let's pretend Foggy never died, right? Let's pretend the first 20 minutes of episode 1 doesn't exist.
Karen died? Or...
No. Imagine the first episode doesn't have that first 20 minutes.
Oh, you're saying, we still have the same show, we just get rid of that 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and also lose the Karen Page sequence. He's just decided that he's no longer Daredevil. Is that what the original pitch of the show was, that people were annoyed at?
Just considering the last time we definitely saw him was in Echo, and then properly was She-Hulk, where he definitely was Daredevil.
Yeah, and now they're like, oh, it's a year on, he's moved on from that, he's stopped for a reason. Maybe we just get a flash of the badge every now and then that says like, oh, my friend died. And then the rest of the episode, Foggy and Karen don't matter. They do not change anything he does.
And maybe that stuff was brought in just for, as you said, just more punching, more just a good beat, just a good opener.
I think it was the new guy that was like, no, we need. It just annoys me that they said we need to bring in the heart, and then they kill off most of the heart in the first episode,
Good point.
and then have Karen piss off. I just think this is going to be a little hodgepodgey, like. We've just reshot this very
Captain America,
maybe very Captain America Brave New World, where it's like we have 3 different plots from 3 different remakes and we're going to go with it. Because this would be expensive to reshoot an entire show just for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Like at least the movie, they were trying to make it work.
We have waffled in all sorts of orders, which is interesting. Yeah. I think you've raised some good points. I think, yes, not much has truly happened. I like the character stuff. When you actually look at it and poke at it, can feel a bit shallow. But I think there's some good stuff here, and I think it can come up good. I think maybe you have to give it a bit of grace that they had to, there's a lot of murky shit they had to kind of wade through to get the ball rolling. I can understand the annoyance of, like, they didn't have Foggy and Karen in it. They brought them back to essentially kick them off again. It's like, I was disappointed in that, like, because all I heard was they're redoing the show, and I was like, oh, great, expecting it to be Foggy and Karen, everybody's back in the old place again, and then we're just, I think your ultimate point of people who've loved the original stuff are coming in going, they've killed Foggy? And then someone who hasn't watched this show, they're like, who are these people?
Yeah, all I'm seeing everywhere is we are so back, like Marvel is born again.
I think it's that first 15 minutes that's got everyone pumped.
It looks so shit. I tried to love this. I was so keen. Like I said, I binge watched everything up to here, and I'm like, let's go, season 4. Not even the fact that it's not season 4. Just like more Daredevil. I'm keen. I was keen for this. And yeah, just that first 15 minutes was like, what the fuck is happening? Even that first little nostalgia tour, as soon as we're like watching everyone in the bar, just it didn't feel right, and I hated this. It was not fun for me. I don't think the rest of the show might suck. Like this, it's the first 2 episodes. It might not be what the rest of the show is, especially because it had such a weird little creative thing going on. It might change dramatically, and I'm going to watch the whole thing, of course. I'm going to let it hopefully get better, and hopefully they sort out all those little weirdness.
It's like season 2, super murky. Starts off great, but then the Defender stuff messes up. Hopefully this is the reverse, where you've had a few murky first 2 episodes.
Feige was making them get certain things out of the way, so they're trying to set up their board. They're doing it quickly. They're doing it rushed. In one episode, Fisk goes from not being mayor to applying to be mayor, winning mayorship. Because like he hasn't even like announced his candidacy.
Oh yeah, because they were saying how so many people, 15 people are running. The system is broken. Like trying to do the whole how Trump became president. Like,
yes,
the loudest voice with the most. Yeah. Oh, watch the debate tonight. At least Fisk is.
Yeah,
that was a better way of giving the sense of New York. Just having Matt hear all these discussions.
Literally walking down the street, you could hear people instead of just like, what do you think of the thing?
I was expecting to hear more crime. I think there are moments where he maybe hears crime.
He doesn't, he ignores it. Yeah. Which is like, oh, but like, it just goes so against the Matt. I know, even though Foggy died. Because like Elektra died and he went into Daredevil. He was like, Daredevil is the only way. So him being on the brink of killing Thingo, even though he doesn't even die, that's what breaks him. I'm like, I'm not mad at this. I'm just disappointed. Like, I really am I want more from this.
I'm not saying you've convinced me, but yeah, after watching it, you're going, what did I like? And my head goes...
The first 15 minutes made the
throwing those knives was pretty cool.
And then he's gone forever. I would almost bet money on the fact Bullseye ain't coming back.
Fuck, no. I think Muse is that guy.
Yeah.
It seemed too specific.
I was like, oh, she's got a stalker now. But it's really weird that all of Matt's enemies are now friends with his girlfriend. Or like either stalking his girlfriend or he's marriage counseling.
There's some interesting things there, like the Daniel Blake thing and what else is coming, but...
Maybe you're more hyped because you know the storylines they're copying
a little bit more.
And maybe you're looking forward to stuff. But yeah, I think everyone that's praising this is looking through red Daredevil coloured glasses.
I'm keen to see where this show goes because, yeah, you're right. I think if it continues along this path, we'll just get I think for me, an okay show. I don't think I'm getting a brilliant, we're so back, oh my God. Maybe season 2 will be better now that I'm talking about season 2. But
the fact they greenlit it is something.
Yeah, and maybe it'll just be better.
Yeah, apologies if I sound too bitter.